Yeah, here we go again. So the Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix series. Who wanted this? Like who? Who? Now I like the Avatar movie that came out, not the blue motherfuckers, but the other Avatar movie. But again, not even that movie was meh. The only reason people liked it because people liked the effects were somewhat cutting edge for the time. And it was at a time where movies. Well, I mean, there were live adaptations, but they weren't being pumped out as if off an assembly line. But see, that's why I don't want to talk about this, right? I want to talk about this because who is who was it? Him? There's a character I can't remember because I don't remember really watching all of the animated Avatar series. There was one of the fire guys, or was it him? No, it was him. Yeah. He had this odd character flaw that he believed that women just weren't strong. Like, if you were a woman, you just were not powerful, you were not strong, he was objectively stronger than you. And they said for this series they're going to remove that, which begs the question, why aren't characters allowed to have flaws? Like, he is a legitimate sexist. Well, I mean, sexist is kind of a stretch. I mean, I don't really know the era this came out. I assume it's like somewhat ancient times, but anyway, he had this interesting character flaw that again women weren't just flat out weren't powerful, and he acted upon that. And throughout the series, he's been proven wrong time and time again. And again, that that points him towards character growth and overcoming his prejudice. But for some odd reason, in TV shows and the movies, characters are not allowed to have flaws of his character. Like, you can have flaws, right? You can have, I don't know, the flaw of incompetence. Like, you can have the flaw of. Unless you're the villain, then, I mean, you can be a racist, but never say a slur. You can be a sexist, but never actually be sexist, just sort of imply it. And in every point and every time the movie tries to prove that character wrong and berate that character. Now, so flaws can be done, but you cannot have a character who has a flaw but goes through a genuine journey to overcome it, or at least overcome it through the journey he takes with the main characters. Like, that's impossible because that would actually require some level of good writing, and at least Western entertainment fails to do that. Like, for some reason, like, it's not difficult, right? And I wouldn't even say it's incompetence, because even if it was incompetence, like, they would at least get one thing right. Like, Netflix would. I mean, Netflix has some bangers, but it's only like South Korean and oddly enough Chinese movies. And, obviously they have anime that they ported over. But in almost every single Netflix original Netflix adaptation, something needs to be removed, right? They're told, no, you're not allowed to have this. And it begs the question of what are these TV shows for anyway? Like, are they trying to get investor money? Are they trying to bypass the consumer? Because, I mean, oddly enough, most people are just, mindless consumers. They just watch Netflix just because it's there. But that's no excuse not to put out a good product. I mean, Cartoon Network, when I grew up, was the cutting edge for cartoons. Like, they legitimately wanted to make a mark of artistic value, like, in the cartoon space. So every cartoon, most cartoons, every cartoon that came out had something different as far as like story or creativity. Like I think Courage the Cowardly Dog used a completely different like skybox for every single episode, and again, it's just for some odd reason now. Cartoon Network nowadays is probably trash. I don't know. Don't have cable. I have a computer. I have two computers. That's all I really need. But it really does beg the question if it's just for kids, right? Kids aren't dumb. You know, kids can appreciate good things. I know I did. I know my generation did growing up with Cartoon Network, right? We always call back to the older cartoons and the older movies. So, like, back when Star Wars was actually good. So it's odd how nowadays IPs are just getting drugged into the dirt, like for whatever reason. I mean, if your idea is kids are just dumb, I mean, interesting opinion, but unfortunately, that idea doesn't make you money, right? If your idea was story doesn't matter, creativity doesn't matter, creative vision doesn't matter. I mean, unfortunately, that mindset doesn't make money, and I don't know how many times Disney needs to fire employees to figure that out. Or I don't know how many times Marvel or game companies like Ubisoft, Riot, Bungie. I don't know how many people that need to be fired for them to figure that out. But Netflix was even doing some firings. And I know in one video I said they expanded for too much, but I mean that's probably only half true. I mean, if you were still making money putting out products people wanted to buy, I mean, would you have to fire as many people, or would you even need to fire anyone at all? I don't think so. Again, I don't know. I'm not the economist, or I'm not part of the, you know, forecast in any of these companies. I can't, calculate future revenue and future revenue streams. But all I know is, as a consumer, accompanying firing isn't a good thing. No matter how many times they try to spin it. I mean, it's nice that they took the blame, but unfortunately, like the CEO or like the upper brass, they're not really going to be effective all too much. Unfortunately, I mean, look, if you're a CEO and you put out and you do a bad decision at the company, like just by unmitigatedly hiring people, and then you find out that's unsustainable, I think that should probably come back on you. But again, I don't work for these companies. I don't know how there's just a lot of compartmentalization in these companies. So I don't even think in most companies, I don't even think the CEO really has, like Twitch. I don't think the CEO really has any power. Again, most decisions are done by a board. So, no idea. Then if anything comes back, well, you can't come back on the board. We voted. Someone needs to take the fall. Or like on Discord, again, I don't even know what the CEO of this, who that person even is. Because again, most decisions are made by a board, by a meeting, by a group of people coming together. Like no one really takes the fall when you make a bad business decision. So, except apparently the employees who just work the 9 to 5, they get told, oh, hey, guess you're not having a job. And how this comes back to Netflix is again, out comes another product that's probably going to flop. And Netflix is probably going to fire a couple more people just to make up for the flop. And the reason is there's just no creativity behind these projects. It's like an assembly line of bullshit. And then this just proves it, right? Them taking away the flaw from that character just flat out proves that. And I'm gonna look stupid if that's not the actual character I'm talking about. But I mean, I think my point still stands. You know, if characters aren't allowed to have character, why would people watch it? Other than, you know, the mindless consumers. But even they're turning away from this, right? So, no, anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.